Hey there guys, and welcome back to Alex Invests. For those of you who don't know, I'm Alex. I'm a business owner with a degree in economics, and the markets are a little bit mixed today, as we can see. Now, today I wanted to talk to you guys again about BFT. This is one that I mentioned a few weeks ago for the first time, and when I did, we were down at around the $13 mark, and now we're all the way up at the $15.80 mark. So we have made quite a few moves. It's about a 23% increase. Now, yesterday we were up 7% on the day and another 3.5% in after hours. So it makes sense that we're down today about 3.5% because of the big run up we've had lately. And there is a bit of news behind this, which might be part of the reason why we saw a bit of a run here. So we're going to go through some of that. We're also going to go through a little bit of other news, as well as some estimates for next year and a little bit of more information on that iGaming industry, which is going to be big. And of course, at the end of the video, we will go through the chart as well. So firstly, I wanted to mention that the completion of the merger between BFT and PaySafe will be somewhere in the first half of 2021. Now, that is not too far away. Really, the beginning of 2021 is only a few days away, although it is likely to happen a little bit later, somewhere perhaps nearing the end of Q1 2021 is where I have it. We are currently at a price of $15.80, and that equates to a market cap of $2.8 billion, right? Now, the thing is, the management team at BFT, which is essentially Bill Foley and his management team, says that once the merger is finalized and the ticker switches to PSFE, we should see an implied enterprise value at about $9 billion, right? So we still have a ways to hit that. So what does this mean, right? It could mean that we actually do see a pretty big run in this stock in 2021 up until they actually do end up merging. The other, of course, is that the market cap does not get to $9 billion before the merger. Now, there's really no question that the two of these companies will be merging. And I do have a lot of confidence in this one because, I've mentioned this before, but Bill Foley and his management team of about 6 people have done quite a lot of successful things in the merger and acquisitions. So that's why I am a big believer in this one. And PaySafe is in very good hands here. They will get extra capital to work with from this merger, obviously, but also Bill Foley and his management team will be able to grow PaySafe much bigger as well moving forward, because Bill Foley will be on the board of directors for PaySafe after the merger goes through as well. So if Bill Foley says the enterprise value will be $9 billion by the time the merger goes through, then I believe him. So that's why I do see BFT continuing to run, and I do think it's not too bad of a time to hop in, especially with the down 3.5% today. Of course, we could wait a few more days as well to see what happens there, but we'll get into more of that in the chart at the end of the video. So before we get into some of the news, I did just want to go over this one thing about SPACs, because I've gotten quite a few comments on it, and that is what happens when the ticker changes to PSFE. What happens to my shares in the SPAC? And you essentially just get a 1-to-1 from your SPAC shares to the merging company shares. So in this scenario, let's say you have 500 shares of BFT at a price of $13. You will then, once the ticker changes and the merger finalizes, have 500 shares at $13 of PSFE. So it's just a 1-to-1, and there's really nothing complicated about it. You don't have to do anything. It's very straightforward. So most recently on December 23rd, it was announced that Microsoft will be adding PaySafe card to 22 countries across Europe to pay online in their Microsoft store as well as their Xbox store. Now, Microsoft and PaySafe already have been working together for quite some time, but this just really adds to their relationship here and shows that what PaySafe is doing is working. So PaySafe card is very similar to a prepaid Visa card, if you want to think about it like that. And of course, the transactions are just as or even safer than what you would get from a prepaid Visa. So this is all great, but really the big deal here about this isn't that Microsoft expanded PaySafe throughout some of its stores. The big thing is that it gives PaySafe and PaySafe Card, of course, more brand recognition, right? And gets people knowing about who they are and what they do. Because even though they do have high transaction volume already, and we've gone through this, right? And they have an established market and brand, not everybody knows of PaySafe yet. And there are quite a lot of people actually who don't know of PaySafe at all, especially in Canada and the US. Now, of course, this particular 22 countries only operates throughout Europe, but it does give PaySafe more of that brand recognition and therefore could lead to a bigger market share moving forward. And that is really the value that I see in this particular announcement. Now, perhaps the bigger news is on the 21st of December, it was announced that Amelco would be using PaySafe's unified payment system and essentially integrating their payment platform. So this has to do with the iGaming industry, right? That online gambling. Amelco does other things too. They do have a trading platform, which is essentially just your broker doing the work for you based on some of these suggestions that you give. And they also have a lottery and casino aspect to them. But we're going to be focusing on the iGaming space here. And again, it's like I mentioned in my last video, they are established in that iGaming industry already. So that is why other companies now are starting to pick up PaySafe to use as their payment platform, because they have everything set up so well for this space, and it's worked for everyone else who's used PaySafe in the past and continues to use them. So they're basically integrating the PaySafe Card as well as the other PaySafe stuff. Of course, the Skrill digital wallet as well. Now, again, what's nice about this is it gives PaySafe more brand recognition, especially in that iGaming space, which will be continuing to grow here moving forward. Projected compound annual growth rates for organic revenues is set to grow at 11% per year, and that is what they estimate up until 2025. But what's amazing is that their iGaming industry specifically is set to grow at 52% compound annual growth rate per year up until 2025. So that is massive, and that is where we see that growth again, right? Growth in that iGaming industry shows extra growth in PaySafe revenues here for that specific iGaming industry as well. I've mentioned some other stocks here, DraftKings, right? And LCAHU or Lancadia Holdings right now, which will become Golden Nugget eventually. That one has also been running up quite a lot actually since I first mentioned it. And you can go check that video out right up here as well. So now I am very bullish on this iGaming industry, and I think PaySafe is going to be one of the leaders here for payment through these iGaming platforms, right? And iGaming companies. So now before we get into the chart for BFT, I did want to go through Skrill and NetTeller. Now these are PaySafe's digital wallets that they offer, and essentially it lets you make fast, easy transactions as well as give and receive money from others with these apps. Now this segment currently accounts for 28% of PaySafe's revenue as of September 30th, 2020, the 9 months ended before that. But I do see this number growing a lot because of the application that they have for cryptocurrencies, where you can now buy and sell cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin using any of the other fiat currencies that these wallets do offer. Now, this is where I see a big industry moving forward, and that's why I do see that percentage of revenue become more of PaySafe's revenue. Personally, I see more transactions happening with cryptocurrencies, and PaySafe, as they offer this, where PayPal, for example, does not, I do see this becoming a bigger industry for them. All right, now I did just want to show you guys the chart real quick and show you some of the interesting things that I found here. So first of all, we can just see we're staying in between this channel, right? We didn't even make it to the top of the channel here and we came back down, but that is because of this big run that we had earlier, right? But the important thing to see here is this bottom trend line here, right? And we can see the direction we're going. And what's very interesting here is earlier today, we actually came down very, very briefly to the 14.97 mark and then jumped instantly back up, right, to the $16.12 mark here. And now, of course, we are down at the 15.75. But the point is, we got right to the bottom of this trend line and instantly jumped back off of it. And this is really important to see here because it shows that this trend line is pretty accurate. So what I could see here moving forward is perhaps we come back down to the bottom of this trend line here and hit the trend line again and then bounce off of it. But the main thing to note here is that I do see a continued uptrend in this stock because of this trend line, but also because of, in general, where this stock is at right now. If we look down at the MACD, it seems that we might actually continue downwards up until we do hit this trend line again. For the most part, I think throughout the rest of the day, though, we will see a little bit of just consolidation, and continuing into the rest of this week, I think we will see something similar, a little bit of ups, a little bit of downs again, but eventually we will see another spike like we saw here and like we saw back here again, right? And throughout the next few weeks, I do see the price higher. Again, we can look at volume here, right? Right around this consolidation period, obviously we come down on volume, which makes sense. And what is interesting to know is the volume isn't actually that high even trading here. And again, we are seeing that volume come down a bit again. And that's similar to what we saw back here, you know, high volume, the stock came up, the volume decreased, we saw some consolidation, volume increases again, we see the stock price move up, and now we see volume come back down, and again, we'll probably see some consolidation moving forward. If you're looking to get into this stock, right now is not too bad of a time to do so. Obviously, the better time was when I first mentioned this stock at around that $13 mark, right around here-ish, right? But again, by the time this stock merges, the price is going to be higher. So even if you do buy in here and we see a downtrend to this bottom of the trend line, that's really not too bad because of course I think we will see a bounce off of that if we do end up hitting it. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for the video today. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment as always. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day and I'll see you guys.